Yo, yo, yo. Hey, guys, welcome back to another awesome edition of the Best Practices Show podcast. You ever thought to yourself, man, I've had a lot of adversity, a lot of challenges. This journey of mine is not a smooth one. Well, today I bring on a new friend, Tuyen Nguyen, and he describes an incredible journey. You got to hear this guy's story. It's incredible. And we talk about you never know what you could do without trying hard. It is awesome. Please listen to this. I know you'll enjoy it, and we'll see you soon. Hey guys, welcome back to the Best Practices Show podcast. Have you ever felt like you've been through some adversity, had some challenges? Or if you ever wondered, gosh, I'm working pretty hard. Is this ever going to happen for me? Well, I think we've all had those questions. And I have an amazing guest on today who I've just gotten to know through the Global Diagnosis Education Symposium. And I think you're going to really enjoy his story about overcoming challenges and what happens when one door closes and another opens up. And it's my friend, Tuyen Nguyen. Thank you so much for being on. I'm so glad to have you here.
Oh, thank you, Kurt, for the nice introduction. I appreciate it. And I appreciate the opportunity to tell my story to others so that hopefully it could inspire some, at least one individual, and make a difference in that person's life. I achieved my goal today.
I love it. Yeah.
My story started back in Vietnam, where I grew up. I grew up after the war ended, the Vietnam War ended. Life was hard at the time. Food was scarce. Meat was a luxury on the table, and I could have meat or fish maybe several times a week, if that, if I'm lucky. And I had the basic things like rice and such would be the basic food on the table is we didn't have enough. So we have to find substitute of rice and meat and fish by finding anything we can around us in the garden, in the rice field, you name it. And we ate other things to substitute rice to get by for the days on those days after the war.
Wow.
So it was hard. I grew up in a family where my fathers and mother were teachers in high school. They had to do a lot of other work outside teaching to support the family. And I was one of the kids to help my parents any way I could to get by, get enough food on the table. So then after high school, I went to the so-called physician assistant school, which is like a mini PA program, 3 years, to become a semi-doctor, which my parents would like me to become because I couldn't get into the medical school at the time. So I settled with that. But after 3 years of PA school, I graduated. But it seems like I didn't have an opportunity to work because they pay me only $25 per month, working 6 days a week. So if you do the math, I would earn $1 a day working back in the late 80s. So I said, forget it. So I went on and become a goldsmith and to earn a living and help my parents every day. But then in 1992, I had an opportunity to come to the U.S. Under the immersion program. And so I did. So I arrived here in my mid-20s in 1993. And I got two things in my hands, two luggages per se. One luggage is clothes, which wouldn't be appropriate in Minnesota because I landed in Minnesota. Mm-hmm. And the other luggage is books, English books, dictionaries, grammars, and all that, just about to learn more English. And at that time, in my mind, I was hoping to be educated somehow and maybe go to college of some kind to get a degree of some kind, very vague, and not knowing what I could do, at the time, because I wasn't certain about my skills, my English, my ability to learn. So I came to Minnesota because I have an aunt in Richfield, Minnesota, who lived here many years before I came. So I came to live with her for about more than a year. So my journey started out with two luggages, no dollars, no $100 in my pocket, no degree, in my mid-20s, in 1993 in Minnesota. So I started out with going back to an ESL kind of thing, program for adult education, to earn a diploma, to get everything legit, to go to college right away. Within 6 months, I signed up for college, Normandale College, which is a community college in Minnesota, to start out with basic education for my journey. At the time, I had no idea what I could do and what I could become, but right off the bat with their assessment, I could get the English composition right away. So I started out with that and many other things. I was good with science classes and back in my country, physics, math, chemistry, and all that. I had that knowledge in my mind, but I have to convert all that into English, of course, and learn. So fast forward, during the 2 years at the community college, I thought of many different choices, such as being a nurse, being a businessman, being a math teacher in college, being a hygienist, maybe. And finally, hygienist kind of set my mind into that. So I applied to hygiene school at Normandale College and at the U of M, University of Minnesota. So I got accepted to the University of Minnesota to start out in about almost a year later at the time. That was in 1995. But the Normandale, they didn't get me in. So for some reason, didn't have enough classes and whatnot. So the U of M got 3-year program if I started that. So then during the time I was waiting to get into the hygiene program at the U, I didn't have anything to do, but I would take some more classes, pre-dent classes. And just to back off a little bit, when I arrived, I learned to be a nursing assistant right away to get the license to be a nursing assistant, to work in nursing homes, which would give me flexible time schedule to work between my classes and whatnot, and weekends. And also, I was a waiter in a restaurant. I also was a paraprofessional teacher. That is, I assisted my English teacher to help other students to learn English as a foreign nurse.
Wow.
So I held 3 part-time jobs consistently through my first 2 or 3 years in college, along with full-time student schedule. So I either work or study or sleep or eat. That's it. That's all I did in my 2, 3 years there. Of course, after that too. So eat, sleep, study, work. That's it.
Wow.
Barely any social time, social life, no TV show, no nothing.
Yeah.
Nothing like that.
Even the sleep time sounds a little compromised. How many hours of sleep did you get back then? I'm just so curious.
I don't know, 6 to 8 maybe, depends.
Okay.
And then here's how I worked myself to discipline myself to get better at college. I mean, at my English in school. I study a lot in Vietnam. I use a Walkman, portable Walkman cassette player, and I use a double cassette to learn English, record and repeat and write down what I heard. And so during my early years here, I asked permission from the teachers in college here in the U.S. to record their lectures so that I could re-listen to write down my missing notes. That's one. So I would use the tape recorder on my hand while driving, listen to the lectures to kind of absorb more information. And then at home too, when I sat down to write the notes, I just recorded all that missing notes with the tape recorder to to make sure that I understood all the things and that I could get A's. So that's that. And then I held a portable radio in my car while driving, and or set it aside and listened to the National Public Radio and repeated what they said to train my voice and pronunciation. And so that's kind of how I disciplined myself to get better. And besides other work, so I utilized the driving time to teach myself my English to get better.
Yeah.
Okay. So those are the little things that I forced myself to go through. So when I got accepted to the hygiene program at the U, about a month before the program started in the summertime, I got the encouragement from my girlfriend at the time, who's now my wife, who lived in Canada at the time, and my very close friend, an American-born friend, who went to undergrad with me. He pursued medical school. So he and I took a lot of classes together. So he encouraged me to stop hygiene school and maybe go on apply to dental school. So with the two people encouraged me, I was able to ask for a letter of postponing from the hygiene director to hold me a seat for next year, so that I can try to apply to dental school.
Yeah.
So backward a little bit from I started Normandy College, and after 2 quarters, I was depressed and anxious and not knowing what I could do. So my aunt asked me to maybe consider a 2-year technical college, which I almost started a 2-year technical college to settle my life. But another dear friend of mine who is older than me, who grew up with me in Vietnam, encouraged me to go back to Normandale College to pursue a 4-year degree. So I did that. So I'm glad I did that. So moved on to hygiene school. And then I did for hygiene school. I took a bunch of classes and took DAT. And with a lot of struggle, sweat, and tears, I got into dental school in 1998. So 5 years after arriving in America, having no money, no degree, 2 luggages, I became a dental student in 5 years.
What kept you going? Like, that is an incredible journey. And did you mentioned you felt a little depressed, but were there times you're like, I got to keep going? What really kept you going during that whole process?
I told myself I came here to have a better life, and I will try my best so that I don't settle for less. And I want to be educated. I have to have a career or a job that has some education, other than less education, compared to less education. I would choose to have a higher education career than not. So that's how that kept me going. And I was in the bottom of my life, of not having enough thing to eat and no money and no future. I saw no future in my life at the time in Vietnam. So I could only go up. I cannot go down.
Wow.
So I could only go up. Anyway, 2002, I graduated from dental school at the University of Minnesota. And of course, I struggled quite a bit, to get through it. But the first year of dental school, I was ranked academically 17th out of 85 students in the class. Provided that I struggle a lot with my English and DAT exams, to get into dental school. And so that was, I proved myself I could do it the first year. So anyway, I enjoyed dental school a lot. I was the last student to be in the preclinical lab to work on lab cases until 9 p.m. When the custodian would work around me, at first they looked a little strange to me, but then they are accustomed to seeing me every night there. I was the last person in the clinical lab in 3rd year and 4th year to wrap up my lab cases and do this and that in the lab all the time, like all the time. And upon my graduation in dental school, one of the teachers in dental schools announced in the big group meeting that I have never seen such a hardworking student in my life like Tuyen Nguyen. Never.
Wow.
So I was the most hardworking student in my class, the class before me, and the class after, and probably many other classes too.
That's amazing. Amazing. So, what did you do after you graduated? Where'd you go?
I went to, before I graduated, a year before that, I got a friend who was a Vietnamese dental student 3 classes above me, hooked me up with another employer out of the metro 2 hours away. And that clinic was busy with serving medical assistants patients a lot. And the employer offered me a job, guaranteed job, for $10,000 a month with 44 hours work week. And I was so excited. That was a year before I graduated.
Wow.
So I went there to work full time, more than full time, 55 hours seeing patients per week, plus almost 2 hours writing charts at the end of the day. So if you add all that, I would work like 65, 66 hours per week, nonstop. I had only about half-hour lunch or 20-minute lunch, and I worked 12-hour a day for 3 days and 8-hour a day for 2 days of the week. So I commuted from St. Paul, where I lived in the apartment with my wife, to 2 hours away north of Metro. And I lived there for 5 nights, 4 to 5 nights, and I drove back home for 48 hours. And I did that for a year and a half or so. When my first baby was born, I was still doing that. But then the employer opened another clinic close to my house within driving distance to get home every night, 45 minutes. So I was granted to transfer my job to a nearby place. So I did that for 3+ years total. 2005, October 2005, I bought an existing old dental practice, to own my own business. And at first, I didn't know that I could not, if I could do a 4-year degree. Then I accomplished dental degree. And at that time, I never thought I would be a sole owner. I thought maybe at best I could be a partner. But then it happened that I'd be an owner myself of an old, small dental practice in 2005. So I worked really hard as always. And I was also lucky to have a good program with good patients flow to grow that business. In 2 years, I overgrew that practice such that I couldn't handle the workload anymore. I worked 6 days a week, something like that. So in 2008, early 2008, my wife and I bought some land in the nearby area of the office within a mile. The office place is in Rush City, Minnesota, which is about an hour north of the Twin Cities. So we bought land nearby, and we had started to gather ideas to build my dream office. It took me 1.5 years to gather all the information, all the features of the building of dental practice, and we hired an architect team to draw the building plan and all that. So it took us a year and a half to gather information and also work with the architect. And then summer of 2008, late July, we dug the hole of the flat land to build the office. And Thanksgiving time, we moved in. So 4.5 months from start to finish my dream office, digging the hole and build and move the patients in 4.5 months. 12 ops, 12 chairs, 6,000 square feet, 1 level, and full basement.
Wow. That is quite the accomplishment. And for you to hit that timeline, that's pretty good. I don't usually hear that kind of execution and timeline like that.
Right. 2008, I also hired a full-time associate He started out when we started build the building. He worked part-time. I worked part-time, but then 2008, I got a full-time doctor. And fast forward from the end of 2008 to now, I've had many associates here and there. But as of right now, I have 2 associates full-time, and me is a full-time. But then one of my associates is now withdrawing because she doesn't like to the city in the wintertime. So I'm in the process of replacing that dentist with another full-time dentist right now. And we have about 4,500 plus active patients in the office. We have about 18 staff, full-time, part-time together. And we have loaded technology in the office. You name it. CBCT, 3 digital scanners, soft tissue lasers for all hygienists, hard tissue lasers for me, all electric campuses, each chair, 3 monitor setting, TV, radio for patients, movies for patients, and what else? Oh, airflow technology is the best for cleaning and deep cleaning for hygienists. Airflow technology is the best. I don't know if you heard of that name before. Have you?
Yeah. And I'm certainly not someone worthy of commenting on it, but in conversation, it does come up for sure.
Okay.
But yeah.
Yeah.
And now I'm going to paraphrase because it's been a while since we had the GDE symposium, but Bill Robbins was sharing a little bit, and I want you to expand on this, on the cultural changes you had to make in order, and I can't remember, and I don't want to get this wrong, but for you to make a living, and to make money, that was a hurdle that you had to get over. And can you talk about the cultural changes and in being successful? I can't remember what he said, but it was, and you chimed in and I was part of the conversation, but it was hard to feel worthy of success and make money as a result of something like that. Do you remember exactly what it was?
Cultural changes in general?
Yeah.
For the dentist here or for myself or what? What was it?
I think he was paraphrasing what your parents had taught you, or something like, to make money in a country, coming from from Vietnam, and from the background you came to thinking about how to make money as a living. There were some changes you had to make in your mindset. Can you talk about that?
In my country, I was a goldsmith. I didn't make much money at all, barely anything. That's like pennies here compare. And so over there, my parents were an entrepreneur doing a lot of other things, such as getting cut clots from big manufacturer and bring home and then hire workers around to do the sewing in the industrial way, and then to hand back the big manufacturer to earn a living. Those are the things that I grew up with. But over here is different. Of course, I'm a professional now, a dentist. And so working hard as a dentist is different than working hard as someone in Vietnam, earning pennies to live by every day.
Yeah.
And so the change, well, I feel privileged to live in America because there are plenty of opportunities to seize and thrive with. Whether you can be a medical doctor, dentist, lawyer, or anything, or even if I am a plumber, I would be my own owner of a plumber company. I would work hard. I work my best. I get reputation. I get referral. I will have a comfortable life if I were a plumber or electrician. So no matter what you do, there will be opportunities for you to get a loan, to open a business and work hard. You're going to achieve what you want to achieve. You can set your own schedule. You can work as hard as you want or as little as you want, and you have options to do so.
Yeah.
Back in Vietnam, especially now, we do not have an option there to work hard to earn money. to live comfortable. That is sad to hear, but it's the truth right now.
Yeah.
The economy is not good. So over here, plenty of opportunities. I am so blessed to be here. I'm so blessed to be part of the country, part of the people around me. I've been supported so much to become who I am right now, from the people around me, from the government, loan me the money to go to school and all that. I did all that basically, and from my hard work for the most part, and some help. Helps my wife, friends around, my employees, and the people around me. And I just cannot thank enough of people around me and the country. So I owe the country a lot of being here and paying back, contribute back to the people around me. And I do a lot right now. I do all the challenging work in dentistry, such as implant, full mouth implant or single implant. I do all my design. Digital design. I print out my own surgical guides. I print out my temporary prostheses. I do full mouth implants, all on X. I do impacted surgical extraction for wisdom teeth. I do gum surgery. I do all my endos. I do removables. I do all of that. I do a ton of that. I do fixed pros really well. I do very quick. I do very good operative. I do everything except for ortho and crying kids. I don't handle crying kids very well. So those are the two things I don't do. Otherwise, I do everything. And I dedicate myself a lot to studying, to learning, to improving myself. I got involved with Felon's study clubs, 4 or 5 study clubs from Felon's seminar in Canada. I got involved with global diagnosis education. I got involved with my implant business, Dr. Frank Zastro, an neurosurgeon in Germany. I got involved. I learned from Dr. Arudgar a lot, all my implant education. I learned from other dentists out there in the country, and I got networks to connect with them, Facebook, Instagram, and all that. I hear you can see the treadmill on my left side. I put a laptop and fun on top of the treadmill. I ran the treadmill and opened up the videos to study dental recorded lectures from other people.
Yeah.
So I learned and I exercise at the same time.
You're amazing. You are absolutely amazing. I want you to talk about the 2 sentiments when we started. You mentioned you never know what you could do without really trying hard. What does that really mean to you? And what do you want people to know about that phrase?
Sure. Well, back on the day when I came here in America, I was so confused, perplexed, not knowing what I could do. But back in the day, first day I came, I would never imagine that I could be a dentist. I tried out with little things like some A's in classes at college, community college, and then get good grades and transfer to and apply and get accepted to hygiene school. So I knew then at a time that I could accomplish a 4-year degree in hygiene program. And when I first came, I wasn't sure if I could do that. So if I didn't try hard, I wouldn't be accepted to dental hygiene program. So that's the message. If I didn't try hard to defer the hygiene program and try for dental school, I would not have become a dentist. So if I didn't think about that, I didn't reach for the star, then I wouldn't become a dentist. So I couldn't imagine that I could become a dentist, but because I kept trying, I built up confidence one level to the next, and that's how I gained my confidence and achieve things in life. So that's the message. If you just don't know what you could do unless you try and try hard. Look for opportunities around you. Because I couldn't imagine I becoming an owner of a dental practice, but here I am. I'm an owner of 18 employees. At times, I was an owner of 24 employees. At times in the past, in 2010, 11, 12, 13, 14, I got a lot of employees at the time. And now I'm very comfortable with life. My wife has started also a real estate company. She bought houses and remodel and sell it or for rent and all that. So she and I helped each other out. She helps my business and I helped her business too. So we grow side by side. We have a very strong financial resource right now to support two kids who are now at UCLA, UCLA College, two of them. One is third year and one is first year.
That is amazing.
So they are there, and I set the bar high for them. Being a first generation immigrant to be a dentist, so they know that the bar is high.
Yeah.
They're good students.
Well, I have no doubt you have that impact. You're having that impact on me. I feel like I got to up my game, and and it's so inspiring to see how you have stayed focused and worked so hard. And you mentioned this also before we hit the go button. It's true. Doors close, opportunities close all the time. And can you finish that thought? When you have a different perspective on when doors close, talk about that.
Yeah. Yes. I said before we started that when a door is closed in your life, look out for other open doors. And yes, you will find them, especially in this land of opportunities, America, USA.
Yeah.
An example. When I was 17 years old, finishing high school, applied to medical school. It's not applying like the process we do here. It's totally different. Apply meaning I took an exam, a brutal exam, a very hard exam that composed of three subjects: math, biology, and chemistry. And I had to score total possible scores at 30. And they set up the bar to get to medical school, let's say 22 out of 30, things like that, or 23 out of 30. And I scored only 13. I was so mad at myself that I thought it was good, but it wasn't good. I failed, and I thought the world ended there, that I couldn't get out of school, medical school. And it's very hard to retake, a second time or third time. After 3 times failing that, and I could only take once a year at a certain time of the year. If I fail 3 times, chances are I won't get into any of the big, the schools like that. So I thought the door was closed forever. And I went on to become a goldsmith. I had no doors open. I came over here. I thought I'd become a businessman, a nurse, a mechanist, become a math teacher. All of those doors I explore. But then I opened up the hygiene door opened, and then the dental school door opened. And then the ownership of a dental practice opened. And then the opportunity to build a big dental office opened. So one door opened after the next, but with all my heart and soul trying and working to see those doors and walk through those doors to where I am right now. So that's the idea, is you have to try hard when one door is closed. An example is this: 2014, the end of 2014, I was doing really well with cash flow and everything through a major public program of the state. They funded well, but then they ended that program and I dropped 3,000 patients overnight. December 31st, 2014 to January 1st, 2015, I lost 3,000 families. 3,000 families. I sent out dismissed letters because the program did not work for us anymore. They dropped the program. So that door was closed to me. But then I was still doing well after that because I focused on other things and shift my gear to more education, do more things, and I was doing well back again. It's fine. So that was one door closed. There'll be some other doors open, and you have to work hard, willing to work hard.
Yeah. I love it. I love it. We're going to do a follow-up episode. I do have a question for you. The chapters of your life are so interesting. I have no doubt what's ahead for you will even be more interesting. What's in the next chapter for you, Tuyen? What are you up to next?
I am looking for a dedicated, hardworking doctor who is willing to learn to come in to work 4 days a week. The moment that person is comfortable with the flow, I will do 3 days a week. That's my goal next, so that I can dedicate more time to work out and sleep more and learn more and then do more challenging stuff. I am learning to do block graft right now successfully from the Dr. Frank Zastro from Germany. That's my goal next. I want to do better gum surgery and quicker and more efficient surgeries, so that I can tackle resorbed site for implants when I usually would say, "Oh, sorry, I cannot help you with the narrow ridge, narrow bone width or height." I'm learning that. That's my next thing to do, and work 3 days a week, work harder cases. In 10 years, I'd like to transfer my ownership to either one of my kids and or another associate. And then I can just work 2 days a week after that until I cannot work anymore. I enjoy teaching. I am getting involved with part-time teaching residency program in Minnesota here. Just very part-time to see it. I love teaching. I love teaching. I can teach endo. I can teach removable. I can teach, some digital implant workflow too. And so I love teaching. I will teach more. That's my next chapter.
Yeah. Maybe we'll get you to teach over here too. There's no doubt we can learn a lot from you. So your story is incredible. And so, to anybody that's listening, give us some final thoughts on resilience. You never know what you could do without trying really hard. If somebody's listening to this and they're like, it's hard, I've thought about giving up. And I'll tell you, even my journey, there were probably about 12 times in my career I almost gave up. And one time I actually did give up. And then I had a friend of mine go, silly, don't do that. Sometimes you just got to keep going. What's your final thoughts on that?
Life is a blessing. And the blessing that we may not know is we are living in the USA. I know that there are many other problems out there in the country, but all things considered, the pluses and minuses, I do have a chance to compare this country to my own country and other countries that I travel to. This is still by far the best place to live, to work, and to enjoy life.
Yeah.
So don't complain. Remember what President Kennedy said. We all know, ask what you can do for your country, but not what the country can do for you.
Yeah.
I always keep that in mind. And it's a blessing to be in America. You have plenty. We all have plenty of opportunities to work and have a good life here.
Yeah. So well said. And it's funny you say that. I have a dear friend of mine from another country, and I won't mention his name. And he said this to me. He said, I've never seen a country in which people hate where they live, and he said this, you have to understand. He wasn't a U.S. citizen, and he still isn't. And he's like, this is an amazing place. And I've never seen a place where people dislike so much about what they have. And I think it's an awesome opportunity for us to just pause and reflect and be grateful. And Tuyen, you've done that today for me, and I hope for somebody else. And I think your goal of inspiring somebody else's story, I think you're going to do that.
Thank you. I hope that my story can inspire at least one person and make a difference in that person's life. That's my goal.
Well, I hope so too. And I think goal accomplished. So, and I'm so grateful, my friend. So thank you so much for being on the show. I really appreciate this. And stick around while we say goodbye to everybody else. Thank you guys for listening to the Best Practices Show. That story is amazing. And this country is made of great people like Tuyen who've made it so great. And I'll just remind you what he reminded you is like, there's always opportunity if you work hard enough. There will always be doors that open when others close. And I can't thank you enough for listening to this episode. And if you enjoy it, please do us a favor, hit the share button, share it with your friends. Keep sending us suggestions for things you guys want to see. We're going to line them up so that you guys create better practice and a better life. And Tuyen, I really, really appreciate this. So until we see all of you next time, or you hear from us all next time, keep watching or keep listening to the Best Practices Show.
One more thing.
Yes.
I have my practice named Soft Dental in Rush City, Minnesota, north of Minnesota, an hour from the metro. So if you want to check me out, look on our website, softdentalmn.com.
We will put a link to it in the bio. So if you are, in the show notes. So if you're listening to the podcast, wherever you're consuming the podcast, just flip up to the show notes. That's what I was trying to say. And there'll be a link right there to Tuyen's practice and a little bit more information about him. So make sure you check it out. So until we see you guys next time, or you hear from us next time, keep watching or keep listening to the Best Practices Show. You guys enjoy your day.